Let's look at some of the earnings coming in today. Germany's frontliner insurer Allianz today posted a disappointing 17% quarterly fall in profit while floating a new €2 billion share buyback. What really hits Allianz?
Yeah, exactly. Allianz came out with numbers. Allianz is such an insurance company, also like Münchner Rück, for example, that was really struggling because of all those natural disasters that we have seen during this year. We remember the horrible earthquake in Mexico and also those other horrible things that were happening, in the Caribbean. Because of those storm and the earthquake, Allianz had to pay an additional 500 million euros, which of course now means that they made less money for the total year. Right now, their result before taxes is about 2.5 billion euros. That's 17% less when you compare it to 2016. But still, they're expecting positive results for the end of the year. They're expecting at least a 10.8 billion euro profit at the end of the year, and that's why I can also tell you that shares here at the blue chip index DAX today were actually rising for Allianz. Allianz is now being traded, I was just checking it a few seconds ago, with a plus of about 1%.
Well, then let's talk about the Super Jumbo Desert Air Show that begins on Sunday. Who's likely getting the most shine at the show? Who are the likely deep pocket buyers? And what new airplanes are hitting the skies?
Well, it's a show that every person, crazy about airplanes is going to enjoy on Sunday. Sunday, the doors are opening at the Dubai World Airplane show, one of the biggest shows happening every year. And of course, it's all going to be about orders. And the question again, who's going to get more? Is it going to be Airbus or Boeing? We remember the Paris Air Show taking place also this year, the second biggest air show, where actually Boeing received more orders than Airbus. A big question now again during this fair is if Airbus is going to be able to sell more of their Airbus 380 planes, the biggest passenger airliner in the world that recently they were really struggling with, to sell. German carrier Lufthansa is holding 14 of those big airplanes. Emirates, based in Dubai, just received their 100 Airbus 380. But of course, Airbus just doesn't want to have Emirates as the owner of the A380. They want more airlines to buy it. So this is going to be a big focus. Many airlines have complained in the past that the Airbus 380 is just too big, that there are not too many airplanes that can handle this big aircraft, and also that it's not fuel efficient enough. Airbus was also releasing this year that they have now an improved model of the A380, the Airbus 380 Plus, even allowing to carry more passengers with a restructured model. So it's going to be a really interesting fair. We're going to monitor this very closely, how those different airplane carriers will, how they're going to perform. On the other hand, also the Airbus 350 is going to be on the topic of many of the investors there. The Airbus 350 has been very famous lately. It's smaller than the Airbus 380. It can go to way more airports. It's much more fuel efficient. So Airbus is hoping to be very successful there. But on the other hand, of course, Boeing, they also have a competitive model, which is in their case the Dreamliner, also being very successful. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting air show certainly taking place. And that's a wrap up of your latest business news here from Frankfurt. It's been a very nice week with you, Jimmy. Happy weekend and see you again very soon.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I did enjoy our talk this week. I do enjoy the rest of the weekend. Just wondering if you are also crazy about airplanes. We'll talk about that some other time. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. We move on now to Asia, where markets came under pressure on Friday following the weaker lead from Wall Street after Senate Republicans unveiled their tax reform plan on Thursday. The Nikkei 225 tumbled 0.82%, extending losses made on Thursday when the index sharply fell in the second half of the day after gaining some 2% during morning trade. Across the Korean Strait, the Kospi lost 0.3%. The Australian ASX 200 closed down 0.33%. Greater China markets hovered near the flat line. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index added 0.04%, while mainland markets bucked the trend in the region to close slightly higher. The Shanghai Composite edged up 0.16% and the Shenzhen Composite advanced 0.52%. To other market news, Telekom South Africa, that's South Africa's biggest landline provider, says half-year earnings fell 7.4% due to lower revenues impacted by pricing pressures in the wholesale environment. Telkom's headline earnings per share for the 6 months to end September fell to 303.9 cents from 328.2 cents. The group declared an interim dividend of 118.1 cents per share, down 9.9%. And Air Mauritius pre-tax profit fell to 6.60 million euros in the half year ended September 30, down from 15.95 million euros in the same period last year, owing to a loss in the first quarter. The Indian Ocean Islands national carrier says its passenger numbers grew 6.6% to 810,239 from 759,957. The good performance in the second quarter has allowed the company to absorb the first quarter loss and show profit in the first 6 months. In October, the airline added a brand new A350 to its fleet. A second one is earmarked for delivery by the end of this month. Revenue rose to 253 million euros from 244 million euros. Air Mauritius says the second half of its financial year will be very challenging with the arrival of new players and fiercer competition on various routes. And the African Development Bank has approved a $172 million financial package for South Africa's Nedbank Group for infrastructure, banking and housing projects. The package comprised of a 2 billion rand subordinated loan and a $30 million unfunded risk participating agreement facility that will benefit African issuing banks in 20 regional member countries. The sub-debt is expected to strengthen Nedbank's balance sheet and contribute towards the realization of its strategy to finance, among other sectors, infrastructure, digital banking, and affordable housing. When we come back after the break, entrepreneur pushes solar energy in power-troubled Nigeria. Details in a moment.